How's it going, everyone? My name is Mohammed Faisal. I'm the co-founder and chief executive officer of the Money Hub, where our mission is to use the power of technology to teach financial literacy. How many of you guys know what financial literacy is? Yes.
So in China, we have the counterpart for the better education. They get their curriculum from.
做财商。
Yeah. It's, in China we call it 财商. It's like how you teach kids how to better use your money, better locate your resources, how to manage your time and money and stuff like that.
Exactly. So here, it's not that much different, and I'll tell you how I got started with that. So I grew up in New York City. Here, my parents are from Bangladesh, so we came here when I was about 4 years old. Now, when my dad first came here, he didn't know anything about the financial system here or the credit system here. So he got a credit card and he maxed it out. And he didn't know, hey, you don't have to pay it back. It's like free money, right? So there was a silver lining in all that, which was that my mom saw that and she decided to build her credit up. And she decided to get us a home at a time around 2007, 2008, where there was the financial crisis here and the housing market went down and the rent went up, which meant that we got priced out of our neighborhood. So as a kid growing up, seeing that my mother was able to get us a house was a big deal for us, to have our own home. So it taught me two things during that time, and that was the power of financial literacy. Her being financially literate, being a cashier at Duane Reade, being able to save up enough money to put a down payment on a house, understanding what a down payment is and the effect of credit score on a mortgage, allowed us to have a stable home. And of course, the poor financial choices that we make as adults are teachable moments for the kids and the young people in our life. So fast forward to a couple of years from there, I'm in high school, I'm about to graduate, and I'm going on to college. And a lot of my friends, they're going through some of the same issues that my parents did, which was they're fresh out of school, maybe college is not for them, but they're all working full-time, they're all making enough money to support their family, but being a homeowner or understanding what investment really is was not something that they knew. And it made me think about, what did I really learn in high school that prepared us for this? And the answer was nothing. So then I looked it up. What are some of the systems in place, and there was none. And being that New York City has the largest educational system in the country, it's not a single school that has offered it. So right there, that's about a problem. So it got me thinking, what can we do about it? How can we, and that was exactly my face at the time too. And then I came up with a solution. Hey, why not combine the power of tech? Because guess what? We're all on our phone, right? And secondly, the power of storytelling. The fact that I was able to meet with some of these friends of mine and tell them about, hey, so this is what you do to get a credit card, and this is what you do with a credit card so you have a credit score. So just from me telling them that changed and impacted his life. So then I took that and I went to a professor of mine at City College of New York, and I had applied for a project plan for the Colin Powell Community Engagementship. And that gave me startup money to get started, about $5,000, and a mentorship to get the program in place. So then I took that and I decided to create a curriculum centered around their dreams. So a lot of time when we talk about money, it becomes like, oh, I gotta save, I can't do the things I wanna do. No, it should be centered around your dreams. What do you wanna be? How do you see yourself living in a certain way a couple of years from now? So, and then of course we develop our content for the smartphone because that's where most of us are, and then of course gamify the topic. Make learning fun. Why not? This is not something that I'm going to test you on, but life will test you on it. So you better be ready, right? So of course, make it fun. And then we start out with pens and papers. We decided to do activities such as budgeting. Now these are fifth graders out in school in Brownsville, Brooklyn, which is a very poorly funded neighborhood. And they think that there's a lot of kids there who don't want to learn and things like that. This kid is about maybe 9, 10 years old, and he decided to create a budget to get, I believe, a drum set because he wants to be a musician when he grows up. So that's huge because he's only 9 years old. This was in Queens, not too far from here, and we did check writing activity for the first time ever. And that's something that we all take for granted. Hey, we write checks all the time, right? But some of these kids don't get that opportunity. So next we decided to take our work and go on the road with it. We offered a package to like, hey, we're going to cover anything from interpersonal finance, ending with investments and games, and then we provide a progress report for you as an organization that's already serving the audiences that we hope to serve. And then finally, we decided to make our guides digital, to where we had now an updated budgeting sheet, a simplified one, and then something that shows, to have a rainy day fund, and then savings towards your dreams. And then finally, we decided to create whiteboard animated videos because from our studies have shown that whiteboard animation is one of the easiest way to teach some of the harder topics. I've seen it used a lot in calculus and in physics, so why not in money as well, right? And then finally, we came out with our gaming app early this year. It's our first version. It's currently only available on iOS, but our second version is due to drop next week, which will have our complete workshop. This only has one component of it, which is the gaming part. Before, we used to do the games on a PowerPoint and split them up into teams and have them raise their hand to answer the questions. But now they can compete amongst each other with it as a team, with the time limit being right there, with the scores right there in front of them, and then we can do it a lot quicker, and then they can track their progress as well as get on our app. So our users are increasing as we go to each of these workshops. And of course, the biggest part of what we do is that we learn, compete, and win. We let them take in the materials in the first couple of days that we're there, and the last day that we're there, we'll have them split up into teams, play a game, and the winning team receives Amazon gift cards, which are thanks to our sponsors, by the way. So we've been in operation for about 2 years, but really our newest style has been in place for about a year, and within that span, we impacted over 700 students, 50 workshops, 90% approval rate. And one of the biggest things that gets left out here is that we have 12 different partners all across New York City, and that's just in New York City. We hope to scale it beyond that, and once we could replicate it here with one of the biggest, like I mentioned, one of the biggest educational system in the country, we could then go nationwide and then ultimately worldwide. This is our team currently. These are our current members. We do also have a bunch of student lecturers that we've trained and prepared. They're volunteers, and we are all from different professional backgrounds. We have people who have worked with labor statistics, who's an economist with labor statistics. We have our chief developer, Joshua, who also has his own marketing firm, as well as Ian, who is an investment banker. So we have different professionals from different walks of life that have come together under one mission because, like you said, we all could use a little financial literacy in our life, right? And these are some of our partners across the board. One that gets left out from there, which I've actually met with today, is the Boys and Girls Club. And if we can get something that's long-term with them, we could easily go nationwide with that. Some of our recognition, of course, we're part of the Impact Hub. Earlier this year, we've gotten in with some of the sustainable development goals that we're working towards. They're all very close to my heart because they affect either me or the communities that I'm from. We're featured in a whole line of Queens and Brooklyn newspapers, and we made the cover of it, which was right here actually at the Impact Hub. And then of course we're part of the Unlocking Change Challenge. We're semi-finalists. Hopefully we'll make finalists. Fingers crossed. It's sponsored by BNY Mellon. The reward is about $50,000, but most importantly, it gives us some more exposure and mentorship into expanding our mission. And then, of course, looking for the future, we are a social innovation company, so we're 501c3 here. We are almost complete with that. Once that happens, we are open up to foundation money. One thing that gets left out from here, because this was a presentation that I did for a group of entrepreneurs, so I leave out the business model from them. Our business model is simple. Our goal is to never charge the end users. Our goal is to go to these organizations that are already serving our current audience and then get in with their budget, which is hard for us because we're disrupting the line item, because we're not an entrepreneurship teaching company, we're not a workforce development company. That's a component of financial literacy, but we want to open up a whole new line item for financial literacy because that's very important. And of course, we're going to convert our entire workshop into the app. By the time our app drops next week, we'll have our current materials on there, and we hope to expand upon it so then we could go and offer these organizations two things: a curriculum as well as the technology to teach it, and then track the progress as it goes. And then of course convert all our new whiteboard animated videos. We want to have a new series about 1 minute long because that's how our attention span is nowadays. And of course create a community that's teaching each other. Our whole goal of going to these workshops is to find students who we can then convert into student lecturers who are then going to teach younger kids. And that way we kind of create a self-sustaining model. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's our website, Money Hub NYC. Please check out our app, as well as all our social media handles, Money Hub NYC. My personal handle is Mo Faisal, and it's my LinkedIn as well. You can link over there. That's a great big space for social entrepreneurs such as myself. And yeah, appreciate you guys listening.